Introducing block number 12 from the Slow Summer Stars series. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Kathy from the Delafield Quilt Company, and I love sewing, and I share the projects I'm working on this channel. I'm doing a summer-long series called the Slow Summer Stars series. If you're following along, that is awesome. I would absolutely love to see your pictures. I'll put a link to an email that you can send them to in the show notes. I also have the information on the cut instructions for all of the blocks on our website at delafieldquiltco.com. For this block, we're doing a mini checkerboard within a star. We did something similar with a different star a few weeks ago. This one is just a little bit different, and I can't wait to show you how to make it. So the fabric I'm going to use for this block number 12 is this pink coralish color, navy, and a nice little yellow, and of course the background fabric. So here are the pieces that we need. Okay, I've already got my background and my fabric C cut, so now I'm just going to cut my fabric A. And I do need to subcut each of these into 2 triangles, so I'm just going to layer them carefully, making sure I'm lining up all of my edges here. And then I'm going to cut them diagonally once. Okay, and then fabric B, same thing, just only 2 squares this time. And same thing, I'm going to subcut these into 2 triangles. Right, now I've got all my pieces cut. So let me show you how this is going to come together using the test block I've got here. We're going to first start on the center part here to make this little checkerboard. Then we're going to attach these triangles here of fabric B, just like we would a square within a square. And then we're going to attach triangles to the 4.5-inch squares and then join them together. By doing it this way, we avoid doing any Y seams. All right, let's get started on it. Okay, first thing first, my center square. And that I am just going to lay out the pieces. And I'm just going to sew these together in rows using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. And when I sew these, I'm just going to keep them chained together just because they're small little pieces and I don't want to lose them. And now I'm just going to fold them up with my fingers. I'm not going to press them yet. And I'm going to sew on the next pieces right away. And I'm just going to take this piece and I'm going to press the seams open. Now you can see I have my seams pressed open, and since I kept these together and didn't cut the string, it makes doing this real easy. They're already lined up, and it's going to make sure I've got the seams perfectly lined. I'm just going to hold these in place with my fingers, and then I'm going to sew the rows together. So I'm just going to carefully pull this aside and flip it and sew that other piece on there, making sure that I'm lining up those seams. All right, I've got my seams pressed, and I did press them open just because these are really small little pieces. And now I need to trim this down so that's 4.5 inches square. If I don't do that, the rest of my block is going to be a little bit off. You probably won't need to cut more than 1/8 of an inch off around your perimeter, maybe not even that. Okay, just a tiny little bit off. So this should now measure 4.5 inches square. Okay, now we're going to add these triangles from fabric B. So we're going to basically do the square and a square. And to do that, I'm just going to find the center point, give it a finger press, and I'm going to do 2 opposite sides first. And you could put a little mark there too if that's hard to see. And then I'm just going to take the triangle, fold it in half, give it a good finger press, And then you want to line the center point of your triangle with the center point where you creased earlier. You're going to line that up. I'll just put a pin in here to keep it in place. And same thing on the other side. Fold it in half and line that mark up with your folded half on the side of the square. Now I'm just going to sew these using a 1/4 inch. And now that I got this sewn, I'm just going to press the seams towards the triangles that I just sewed on. Okay, same thing before. I'm going to find the center point on my two remaining sides, and I'm going to put those last 2 triangles on. And now, just like before, I'm going to press this open. And I'm going to cut the dog ears off. So there's my finished center square. Right, so now we're going to prepare the star points. We're going to need our 4 4.5 inch squares. And on 2 sides of the squares, we're going to put these triangles here. So I'm going to find the center of the square on both those sides. And then the center of the triangles. Just going to do 1 for now. I'm going to line that up with the center on that one. Just put a pin in there. And I'm going to repeat that right away on the other ones. And I would recommend just doing the same sides, just so you know that your pieces are going to end up okay. Okay, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch along the edges. And then now that I've got this one on, I'm just going to press the seam towards the triangles. And now we're going to finish with these other triangles here. We're almost near the end here. Same thing before, just going to find the middle and line it up to the mark I made earlier. And pin it in place. And just like before, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch along the edge. Okay, once I cut these apart, I'm going to press the seam again towards the triangle. So now I'm just going to double check, make sure that this square should match the width of this piece as well. All right, so 2 of the pieces are going to go on opposite sides of our little checkerboard square and square that we made earlier. But then the other ones, we're going to need some triangles for. So I'm just taking the 2 3 3/4 inch squares from the background fabric, and I'm going to cut those in half to get 4 triangles. And then to prepare these other pieces, I just need to sew these on one of the short sides to each of the sides here. And same for the other one as well. All right, so I'm going to go sew these triangles onto the sides of these 2 sections here. And I'll show you what we do next. When you're sewing these side triangles on, just line up the bottom with the bottom of the pieces. And then they should turn out well. It looks like it's going to be a little long here, but once you sew it with the 1/4 inch seam, it turns out just fine. See, turned out just fine. Okay, I've got my side triangle sewn on here, and I am going to press these sections so that I'm pressing towards the darker fabric here. And then when I sew these 2 pieces on, I'm going to press these to the dark fabric as well, so that they should nest nicely when I go to sew this together. Is make sure you cut out the dog ears on these pieces. Just gets rid of a little bit of the bulkiness. Yeah, that turned out pretty nice. Sometimes I surprise myself because as I'm sewing these, I'm thinking, is this gonna turn out? But I think this one did. And it should be 12.5 inches square. And it looks like it is. If you're sewing along, I would absolutely love to see your pictures of your progress. If you want to share them at Kathy@DelafieldQuiltCo.com, that would be awesome. Or you can tag me on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the rest of the blocks in this series and visit our little shop at DelafieldQuiltCo.com. Have a great day.